Well, welcome back to another episode of the Cruise Conversations podcast. I'm Michael.
And I'm Frank.
And today's episode is episode number 78, and we're continuing with part 2 of Jason and Garrett's MSC Seashore sailing. Let's jump into it. All right, well, let's kind of move into some of your sea days now. So you had essentially like 2.5 sea days here. What did your sea days look like for y'all overall? How were the crowds on board? And kind of how was if you spent any time in like the pool deck area, how was it getting seats?
I'll take that one because Brittany and I are more fun than Jason.
I think Holland America, Gracie and I got in the pool once. Other than that, I've never been in a pool on a cruise ship, and I'm trying to see if I can continue my streak.
Brittany and I had a good time. There was a couple times, and trying to remember when and what day we did what, it's kind of difficult. But I'll just tell you some of the highlights. But no, I thought that the pool deck was super great. We didn't really take advantage much of the middle of the boat pool. We ended up going to like, I guess, the aft pool that they have back there, which I like that area because they've got a bar back there, they've got 2 hot tubs, and then they have like a little wading pool that you can get in. And that's right there at the back of the boat. And they've got kind of like the glass there. It was super awesome because when we left, I think it was Cozumel. Brittany and I ended up going back there, and we kind of just waited in the pool as we left, which was super fun and just really cool to be back there. We ended up going to one of the sea days. I can't remember which one. They did have like some water slides there that you could enjoy. They had, and there were some pretty legit water slides. I mean, I've been to a couple water parks here that we have around us, like Dollywood up in Sevierville. They have Splash Country, and I thought they were pretty good quality. I thought they were a blast. So she and I took some time to go there and ride on some of the water slides. But as far as crowds are concerned, I didn't really think that anything was overly crowded on at least in these areas. It wasn't difficult for us to find, like lounges or to get in the hot tubs or anything like that. I thought all of that was pretty seamless. I think the one day where we struggled to find a lounge was just the last sea day, which we sort of expected that anyway. So, but other than that, no, it was great. They have a basketball court up on top. We didn't take advantage of that. But I did enter in the table tennis tournament, and I got my butt whooped by like, and again, like you just like Chinese, Asian people, they take ping pong super seriously, and they're really good at it, like so good at it. And I go to enter in the contest, and I'm thinking, okay, man, maybe my first opponent won't be like super good, or whatever. But no, the first guy I had right out of the box was like a 65-year-old, like probably retired Chinese guy. And I didn't score a single point, and we only did.
He had his own paddle.
Yeah, he did. He brought his own.
That's how you know.
Yeah, he wasn't using like the paddle that they gave us. He brought his own paddle, and I was like, I'm in trouble.
Oh man!
So, well, if you're on a cruise ship and some dude whips out his own paddle playing ping pong, just go back to your cabin.
Just go home. Yeah. Yeah. No, it was
so
fun.
On the sea days. The first one. Of course, I had bingo both days, and we played bingo. I did not play the first one because the veterans meetup was that same time, and it was in the Brooklyn Cafe. Yeah, that's where it is. Yeah, Brooklyn Cafe. That's where it was. This was one of the better veterans meetups that they had. It's pretty awesome. We had a lady who she actually sang in the Le Cabaret Rouge a couple times. Phenomenal singer, but she sang the national anthem, and it was pretty awesome. But and I bet there was well over 100 veterans in there. It was a very large turnout, and it was pretty awesome. Got a couple guys in there, and Dr. E was in there, and he kind of ran it, and he had some guys if they wanted to speak. A couple guys, told a little bit snippets of their stories, and it's pretty deep stuff. So, but I enjoyed it. I had the first day there. I'm a 49er fan, and the 49ers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were playing on the day we boarded the ship, and it was on the big screen up on the pool deck, and I had turned around, and there was these 2 ladies both wearing Tampa Bay Buccaneer shirts, and I just said, I don't like your shirts. And then started just ragging back and forth with them. Of course, they were with their husbands, and turned to find out one of the ladies was a veteran. Her husband was a veteran. He and I ended up hanging out in the veterans thing, and got to know each other and chatted quite a bit. But then we of course kept running into them, and every time, of course, the Niners ended up winning that game. But every time that they would see me, they would yell something about "Go Bucks" or something. So it was a good time. But then the last C day, they had multiple. We played trivia quite a bit. It was down on the fifth deck there, right in front of the Times Square. But they had Star Wars trivia.
Oh
Keep
yeah,
in mind that your boys got a Star Wars podcast. All right.
yeah.
I would like.
Cigars
I-
in Space. Shout out Cigars in Space.
That's right. I would like to announce that we indeed did win Star Wars trivia.
There
So-
you go.
Yeah.
It came down to a tiebreaker. It was me and four other guys up there, Garrett, or three other guys.
It was three other guys. Yeah.
And they asked the final question, and not only did you have to get it right, you had to get your hand up first. So I did that and got my hand up, and so we won Star Wars trivia. I got an MSC hat. I should have grabbed it, but it's in my bedroom in the closet in there. So
Oh, nice.
That's all.
But yep, I got bragging rights. Played bingo also that day, and I had two left. So, but that's the closest I've ever been in bingo on a cruise ship. So
Sounds like you guys did the sea days right then.
We did.
You did all the
We did.
game shows. You did all the events. So sounds like a good time. So now let's talk about food. I feel like this is something that I'm definitely interested in hearing about. Been on a lot of cruises. The food is, some of my favorite things about cruising has been like the meals and just the service and everything. So,
Yeah.
how did you guys find yourself eating breakfast and lunch throughout the day? And then kind of talk to us as well about dinner. And did you do any specialty dining, or did you just kind of eat in the main dining room? And how did that go?
yeah, main dining room for dinner every night. Buffet for breakfast and lunch. Garrett, you can give them a little bit of your thoughts, and Mr. Lobster Tail.
Yeah. Okay. Lobster tail. So I ended up. I don't know. I thought the food was really good for the buffet. I thought. I mean, I think each day they had a pretty good rotation of stuff. They often. They always had like a, fresh serve ice cream, which I'm a huge ice cream lover, so that was great. No, the food was fantastic. I don't think I had any complaints about the food at all. Of course, it being an Italian ship, we pretty much every night, like for a midnight snack, went up there and got pizza.
We were at the buffet literally every night.
Yeah, that pizza was fantastic. We ate a lot of that pizza all week, and it was great. The dining for dinner, we didn't do any specialty dining. We just kind of stuck to the main dining area that we had. And no, I thought the selections were really good. They always have their staples that are always on the menu through the week and everything, and then they kind of rotate out. But no, I mean, I pretty much loved everything I ate. I will say there was one night where they had like lobster tail on the menu as well, in addition, that you could get, and I ended up ordering that. But it took forever to get to me. I ended up getting my dish. Jason and Brittany and Rachel got all their dishes. We pretty much almost finished that before I finally got my lobster tail, and it just wasn't great. I mean, it was. I've had good lobster before, and I kind of thought that it was a little bit mediocre, and then not to mention the fact that I had to kind of wait for a while. But I thought that the dinner food was great. All the food on the boat was good. I enjoyed all of it.
I thought I thought the food was great. I didn't have any really real complaints. I don't eat breakfast at home, but I do on a cruise ship. But I did try to stay away from heavy carbs just so that it didn't have an adverse effect early in the morning, uh, making me feel sick. On Ocean Key, we ate lunch that one of the food trucks Garrett mentioned, and it was included as part of your package. Um, and as were the bars on MSC's Ocean Key. They're if you have a drink package, it's included in that as well. By the way, the bar that's right off of the port, the first one you come to by the shops, my wife says they make fantastic mojitos. So if you like mojitos, that's the place.
They do make good
So,
mojitos. Yeah,
so those same guys actually work at the champagne bar on the ship. They said that they certainly can make mojitos at the champagne bar, even though it does not give it away in its title. So,
It's on the mojito bar.
but so I will say that just a quick thing: the Norwegian escape that we were on last year, they had a mojito bar, and that was fantastic. Anyway, it's a little sidebar. But no, that food, I don't have any complaints about the food. It was good. The only time we really saw crowds was probably at the buffet, and that's only if you hit it. I usually get up between 6 and 7, somewhere in that range. That's just when I wake up, and I would get up in the mornings and head on up and take my tablet and my iPad and go up there and read. And then my wife was ready. She would text me, and I would either meet her or come back down and get her or something, and we would go up there and then we'd both eat. I'd have coffee prior to that, but then when Brittany and Garrett would get up at 2:30 in the afternoon, then we'd do something. Just kidding, but um, but no, that was that. And then we ate lunch there pretty much every day too. And then there, if you look at the app and go to the restaurants on the MSC's app, it'll actually tell you. It actually gives you a notification, and it'll tell you when the heaviest traffic times are for the buffet.
Oh, that's nice.
So if
Huh.
you kind of see that, and you kind of work around that, and it was pretty accurate. So
I don't remember having that either. So
I was like,
I guess they're adding. I mean that's a good thing that in a couple months span it seems they're adding more. I mean, overall, I was impressed too with the food, especially breakfast time. I feel like there were more options than just your standard eggs,
right,
pancakes, waffles. Like I was eating some like little fried rice station, little croquettes.
a
I think
lot
this
of
is more like
options.
the international flair, right? When
Yeah.
it comes to some of the food, because I would never thought of having shrimp fried rice for breakfast, but the dude who made it, making it in the little wok, amazing.
Yeah, but I'm still not going to eat it because it's not that's not breakfast food.
it's got eggs in it. Come on.
Yeah.
Right.
And like I said, I thought the pizza was great. I was up there at that late night buffet each night, making myself a little plate and taking it
Yeah.
back to the room. So it's kind of switched now to some of the add-ons, like we've mentioned all the time on the podcast. I know you already kind of said you had the drink package, but between like drink package, anything in the spa, Wi-Fi, what did y'all add on, and how was your experiences with it?
Well, for me, we had, of course, I had the drink package. And it was the $10 or less package. This would be my one complaint about MSC and this is one of the reasons why I don't consider getting the higher tiered package. Is I've looked into it. This was back in January when I did some more research into it. Um, they say, oh, if you get the higher package, then you can get, I like bourbon. Um, you can get these higher end bourbons. And in January, I did not one time see any of the higher end bourbons anywhere. This time I did see them a few times, and was actually going to get it once, and they didn't have it. I think I can't remember now which one it was I was going to get. And so that's my one complaint. I just don't feel that they have a lot of mixed drinks. I think that's really what they want you to buy is the mixed drinks. But I just like to have my bourbon on the rocks, and they
Yeah.
don't have a lot of options for that. Probably of the 4 cruises, well, three include this boat twice, but of the three that I've done in the last year and a half, 2 years, this is by far the worst drink selection from this perspective, not from a mixed drink. Mixed drinks were good. They had a BBC and a drink that was got some banana and some stuff like a drink in a smoothie. It was fantastic. They're also pretty liberal with it. Me and Garrett would go up there and we would get drinks for the four of us, and they weren't asking questions. We scanned the thing. Now, if you went up there and tried to get like 6 or 8 drinks, they're going to start asking questions about that. But they didn't have any issues with us coming and getting drinks for us and for the ladies. So,
I better say, I feel like there were some times too where they wouldn't even scan my card.
Yeah.
They just make the drink and
Yeah.
give it to you, and they were fine. But yeah, I kind of agree too with the drink package. Like I don't think I ended up spending any extra money to get like one of the super nice cocktails. Or like I'm a Woodford drinker, and I think
Yeah.
Woodford was an extra like $3 or $4. I was just drinking what was included.
that's what I did.
Uh,
Had a lot of Jack.
yeah, yep, yep, Jack, or maybe Crown. Did they have or?
They had Crown. I want to say even Jason, correct me if I'm wrong, but there was at one point we were at the cabaret, and I think I ordered a whiskey, and it was I had ordered something that they didn't have, but he ended up getting me a higher quality whiskey, and I can't remember if it was either
It was both
Buffalo
of us.
Trace
It
or
was
if it was
Elijah Craig.
Elijah Craig. That's what it was.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
and they didn't charge us for it. They ended
He
up
didn't charge us
yeah
extra. He came
yeah
and told us. We both got the same thing, I think. And he came and told me, he said, I don't have, he didn't have Jack, basically. All he had was the higher end at that one. So it was kind of the inverse of everything else. But
yeah.
Um, but I mean, but that kind of goes to my point is that it just seems that they don't have the best it's specifically bourbon stock. It seems to be lacking.
What was the vodka? Was it like Tito's or Grey Goose or?
Yeah, they had a lot of Tito's. They did have some Grey Goose. I don't think I saw any other brands, but then again, I don't really drink vodka all that much.
Same.
But Brittany would get some mixed drinks, and I think in pretty much every vodka drink she got, it was always like Tito's. I think.
Yeah, because Tito's is included
Okay.
in the $10 limit.
Yeah, but Brittany likes Tito's too. So
Yeah, so I mean, there's that. So
Did you guys want to hit more on the internet thing?
I'll speak generically. Garrett got the internet for one day. I'll let him speak to that a little more. But I had just the base Wi-Fi that you've got. Um, I had several problems with it where it seemed to it kind of came and went all the time. It was just very inconsistent. My wife didn't seem to have near the problems that I did. I don't know what the deal was. You can send iMessages on it, so we all had iPhones and we could iMessage Gracie who was back home, make sure things were going well. But my phone went out and was no longer I could no longer send iMessages. It was just kind of odd. I don't know what the deal was with it.
Huh.
But I had several problems with the Wi-Fi. Again, I didn't upgrade. Maybe if I upgraded, it would have been okay. But first world problems, right?
yeah, I mean, just the standard like what comes with like the boat. You just connect so you can get on the app. Yeah, I thought that was a little bit. I thought that was a little bit rough. But I think if you purchase like the advanced, pack or not the advanced, but like the next level up internet package, which you can pay for like browsing and streaming, or you can just pay to browse, which is what Brittany and I paid for the day, and it's just to kind of do those like daily tasks or weekly tasks that you do, like check your bank account, get on, send some emails, that sort of thing, and that's kind of what we did. And I thought all of that was great. A page would probably take 4 or 5 seconds to load, whereas here it takes is not even a second. But I thought overall the internet, if you paid for the internet, it was fantastic, and I thought everything loaded up great. There wasn't really anything that I felt that I couldn't do. I didn't try to do like a FaceTime call, but I did do like a regular phone call, and I thought that the quality of that call was great too. So in the case where, as I had stated, before when we booked this cruise, there was a threat that I was going to have to work like a little bit on the Monday that we were there. I ended up not having to do that, which was great. But I feel like if I would have had to have done that, I feel like I would have been in great hands.
Nice. That's perfect. Yeah. Thank you guys for talking through that, because I feel like that is something that people are thinking about when they book a cruise. Like, am I going to be able to talk to my family back home, or am I going to be able to respond to work emails? So that's really helpful.
Yeah, for sure.
Now let's kind of switch gears a little bit into entertainment. I know we're talking about drinks, but it goes really well with entertainment as well. So were you guys able to catch, it sounds like you were able to catch a lot of the live shows and kind of some of the things around the ship with Dr. E, but how was like overall the music, the comedy? Did you feel like there were enough things to do compared to the other ships that you've been on in the past?
Yeah, I think so. There's a couple shows that we caught, and just as more like a general overview of the whole week in entertainment. Yeah, I mean I feel like they usually had a band playing almost anywhere, which was cool. If you want to sit down and enjoy some drinks, listen to some live music, that was cool. The theater shows that they had. I know, they definitely had The Magician. They had a couple other shows that we did, and more audience involved type things. Yeah,
Love and Marriage, we said we did.
Yeah, the Love and Marriage. Of course, Bingo. But yeah, I thought the shows were pretty cool, and Jason will probably speak of it in a second. But he and I went to one Monday night, because I think Rachel and Brittany weren't. I think they got a little bit motion sick, so they were still back in the room. But we went to the one. We couldn't tell you at all what it was about, but it was it was cool.
Yeah, it was called the Journey Show, and that was my note. We went back, and Rachel and Brittany's like, "Hey, so how was it?" I said, "Oh, it was pretty good, but I have no idea what it was about." What it seemed to be was about a young man who was on a journey, and had a train back there that just kept going, passing by, and it would stop. It's like at a new station, and then a musical would break out. So they were talented. It was they sang and danced, and everything was fine there, but I wasn't really sure what the purpose was. So odd.
Yeah, I'll say with that show too, because I saw that one. I think it was one of the first nights for us, and I thought it was one of the better shows they did. You could tell they were trying to make out of all the shows, it was the one they were trying to make some sort of story out of.
Right.
But like you said, it was kind of, I mean, harder to follow than.
I just didn't, maybe it was just me, but I just didn't follow the cohesiveness of it. Now, um, also, we were a little distracted by the lady in front of us who was doing this the entire time, you know, and with her
Her
flash on.
flash on the whole
Oh,
time,
Oh,
or
no.
almost the whole time. So yeah, that was
It
like,
didn't bother us as much as did the people in front of her who she was shining her light on.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
But
yeah.
anyway, but no, of course we did that. We did the Love and Marriage, and then we did the magic shows. The only three things that we really did in the theater. As far as other entertainment, we did go to the. I walked through the White Knight stuff. I don't know if y'all went to it or not and stayed any time. And then we did the
Silent
Silent
disco.
Disco. Garrett sang karaoke in the La Cabaret Rouge one night.
Yeah,
Ah,
it was
He
fun.
he also
Yeah.
tried out for the MSC's version of American Idol. He didn't make it.
Yeah.
We did
Oh.
go look,
Oh.
and they picked people who came and sang karaoke every night, and they got to know, not people who were
Okay.
talented.
All right.
Which kind of seems like the old American Idol back in the day, right? Especially the audition phase.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely,
basically,
absolutely.
yeah.
They were looking for good stories, not necessarily for people who were going to make it big. Let's just go with that. So
Well, but there was a catch to it too, and if I remember right, I mean, of course, I didn't make it past the first round, but I think if you got to the end and won, you won something. But I can't remember off the top
Okay.
of my head.
Free cruise.
Well, you say that, but I
Maybe,
feel
I
like
don't know.
maybe it was like there was some, and it was actually worth it. I feel like to go have gone through the whole process to do it, and that's kind of what intrigued me about it before. I was like, I'm not some like super talented singer, but I was like, hey, maybe I'll just try,
Yeah.
see what like maybe I'll win something awesome out of it just to go.
Garrett does a mean Frank Sinatra impersonation. I will give him that.
Oh wow.
So the lady who ended up winning, because we could hear them singing because they were doing it at the same lounge where I'm trying to blank on it again, where they had the silent disco and everything else there on the fifth deck. But the lady who ended up winning actually could sing very well. So
Yeah, she was very talented.
Yeah.
Very,
Okay.
very talented.
there was something else that just popped in my brain. Oh, talk about what did you win? So if you won bingo on the last C day, you win a free cruise. I told you I was 2 away.
Oh.
The lady who won, she won a free cruise. She was on that ship on a free cruise that she won at bingo the last time she was on one.
That's awesome.
So
That's some luck right there.
anyway, long story short, we threw her overboard. So,
It's rigged.
but yeah, that was pretty much the entertainment that we kind of did in a casino. We, my wife and I especially. Brittany gets mad when she gets on there and she spends $10 and doesn't win 150. But hey, we're there. I view it as you have the disposable income. I see it no different than going to a movie or to a concert or whatever. I'm just putting my money in. And I think between the two of us, mostly her, we ended up nearly breaking even in the casino for the week. So
Nice. Did you get any points? Because I feel like that does go towards like free cruises potentially. And
I don't remember. I think I was in the 600-700 range on the points. So I was keeping up with it. I just don't remember now.
speaking of you not being able to like think about where things are on the cruise, we wanted to talk about like the ship layout and whether or not you felt like it made sense. Was it easy to navigate? Now, obviously, you're just talking about your recollection. Your recollection of the names is one thing, but like when you were on board, did you feel like it was easy to remember like generally where to go, how to get around? Did it make sense? Did it flow? Were there areas that got really congested versus other ships you've seen?
Not really. There was, of course, where we stayed. We're staying like sort of towards the front of the boat, so there were a lot of times where, especially like with Brittany and I, if we wanted to go to the aft, like the pool, back to the aft, it
You're gonna
would be
pack a
like,
sandwich. You get
yeah,
there.
basically, it would take forever to get back there. But I just kind of thought that no, I don't think that the boat in general had a weird layout or anything like that. There was one night where I guess to kind of try to funnel people a different way, they ended up closing off some doors that you would normally take to get to the restaurant. So we ended up having to kind of walk past like I guess what you'd call like just the staterooms like on that same floor in order to route around. Yeah, on the fifth deck, and that was really weird because we were like, "Where the crap are we going?" Like, I mean, it was just like,
I think they were taking pictures or something, and they had something on the port side of the ship, they had something blocked off over there, and you couldn't walk through. So it was a little odd. But if you went up a level, you could go past it. But we weren't smart enough to do it. Well, the first time we weren't smart enough to do that. We did it after that.
Yeah.
Um, but um, I will say this, and of course, having been on there, that was it's one of the reasons why we on the first day we go to the top of the boat, and then we walk around the entire each floor, and then keep working our way down, is to get a feel for the layout of the ship. The most confusing part on the MSC ship that I have is the fact that there are two sets of elevators and two stairwells, and I'm accustomed to there being one set in the middle.
Okay.
So when you go to that and then you get off and you realize that you indeed did not go to the middle of the boat, you're still on this side. And it takes you to about day 3 to kind of get that through your thick skull there that there's two sets of it. That just kind of, other than that, the only other thing that I would have a complaint in that arena, and I actually pointed this out to them, is I'm used to most boats having the Lido deck and this deck and that deck, and they're all named. On MSC, it's just 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, so on and so forth. So I think if they would name them something and call them by those names, then that would make it a little bit easier to remember. Like the Lido deck on almost every ship I've ever been on is where the buffet is.
Yeah, it's true. Hey, and you also joked about like needing to bring a sandwich to that pool on the aft, the adults only pool. The one thing I kind of found odd with that part of the ship is you had to like walk through kind of like the nicer part of the ship where like all the specialty dining and all that was to get out back there.
Yeah. Well, so we had a hack for that. So what we ended up doing,
Okay.
because that was kind of annoying too, because you're walking with like your bathing suit and you're kind of like
Yeah.
you feel like you don't belong here, because you're trying to get where you're going. And so that happened to us the first time. Well, so what we ended up doing is they actually have an elevator at the very, very back of the aft. So we would just we would take the route from our stateroom and just walk the length of the boat through the staterooms. And that felt a little bit
Okay.
more comfortable of like, if like Brittany's in a bikini, she doesn't really want to be walking through like a specialty dining where someone's sitting in,
Yeah,
it,
that's
it
weird.
felt
Those are kind of
weird,
odd.
so that doing it that way, walking all the way back past the staterooms and then taking the elevator right down to it, that was a little bit more comfortable doing it that way.
That's kind of the same thing too. If you're going to like the Le Cabaret Rouge, you walk through there, you walk past. If you're on the, I think on the starboard side of the ship,
Hey, but that didn't
the
stop
this
some people. That didn't
no
stop some people.
the sushi restaurant's right there, and it's got the little trays coming around. You walk by, you just want to pick something off of it. It's kind of odd,
Yeah.
uh, but overall, I think they've done a pretty good job of using the space. The ship again did not fill for the size of the ship. What is the capacity of that ship? 4,500, give or take. Is that what it is?
Sounds about right.
5,400 actually. 2,270
No.
staterooms, 5,448 passengers. So I don't know how full it was. I never did ask, but it didn't feel cramped. It felt like they utilized. One of my complaints about Norwegian was I feel that the Haven takes up way too much of the ship, and they cram too many people in the general seating, if you will. I don't feel
Okay.
that this was that way at all. I felt that there was plenty of space for everybody to proverbially stretch their legs for 5,000 plus people on that ship. Heck, I'll probably go find out that it was half capacity, and it was why. But so
No one was on there except for you
that's
guys.
right.
But
So, but no, I thought that was fantastic. I didn't have any issues there.
Yeah, that's great. And I mean, with 5,000 people, I mean, you got to have obviously a lot of people working the ship overall. How would you say the service was from the employees throughout your week?
Well, I think you always play that battle of like on some of these like cruise ships where, depending on kind of the base of origin from like, and I mean that like by where they're from, some of these people, you don't really ever know if it's the language barrier or what it is. The waiter that we had through the week for our dining service, excluding the first night, he just he just didn't seem like he had been doing this for a long time, or he didn't really seem engaging. He was kind of the guy where he'd say, okay, what are you going to order, and then not look at you the whole time while he just seemed kind of annoyed with us, and I couldn't ever get his vibe. About halfway through the middle of the week, I ended up trying to, I asked him, it's like, where are you from? How do you say hello in your language? Just trying to break the ice a little bit. But I just didn't feel like that didn't do anything. and I
Oh.
just felt,
I thought you were about to say it changed at all.
Yeah.
no. I mean, like I thought maybe he'd loosen up a little bit. Like, hey, we're just you're here to help us eat. Man, it's all good. Like, we're not here to have some sort of popularity contest or anything. But I really didn't feel the only time I really felt that he put any kind of effort into our dining was the very last night, and that was you kind of feel like are you trying to just get me like to leave a good tip for you or whatever. So and maybe I'm sure he's probably just the one exception. I'm sure there's some great waiters and waitresses on that boat too, but the service just kind of felt lackluster. Whereas I feel like on Celebrity or at least Norwegian, the waiters or the waitresses, they're fun, they're engaging. They're like, oh, it's nice to see you again, and I hope what I'll tell you what to get tonight or this or that. There was really none of that with this guy, so not really my favorite.
Yeah, the other one too, and this is probably again first world problem. They came up and asked us what we wanted to drink every night. It never changed, and that's the only time I've ever been on a cruise ship at dinner where they came and asked what we wanted for drink. After the second night, they brought me what they knew that I wanted to drink. And again,
Uh-huh.
first world problem, but that's what I've kind of gotten accustomed to. These guys are, they again, I'm not besmirching them. I'm just simply stating is that this didn't seem like Garrett said, he'd be taking your order and he's looking around the room like he wanted to be anywhere else except for where he was. It's just, he was nice enough. But I almost felt that way overall. Dr. E was fantastic, the cruise director. There were other pieces. The gang that was doing the trivia, they were very funny and engaging. The ones that were doing bingo, I think that was the assistant cruise director. I forget his name, um, but they were all fantastic. But by and large, I felt that the service overall was not as friendly as even what I experienced back in January on the same ship.
Well, Dr. E said so. I know his name is Dr. E, but that's what we call him. So that's what he refers to himself as. But anyway, so I know that he made it. Now, of course, he was joking because he's just trying to have fun, lighten the crowd up. But he made a comment during the week that actually I feel like kind of spoke to this
It's
a
one
little
of is it
bit.
one of the shows, I think.
Yeah, it was at one of
No,
the
no,
shows.
it was over the was it over the
No,
intercom?
no, no. It was one of the
Was that the
shows.
show? Okay.
He basically said something to the equivalent of, if you are talking to someone on the boat who is one of the people that works on the boat, and they look at you and they just smile and they shake their head, they have no idea what you said. And so he was like, so if they have to go get somebody and bring somebody to you, it's because they have no clue what you said. So I feel like there might be some of that. Language barrier where they don't speak good English, or maybe they don't even speak English at all, but they're
He
working
said
on this.
in that same vein, he said, so you have to understand, he said, for these guys, his English is their fourth language.
Yeah, exactly. Which is super impressive. I mean, that's like
Yes.
wow,
Yeah,
like that's not an easy feat. But when I would say the vast majority of people that do come on your boat speak English, I feel like, you know, uh, maybe you should speak a little bit better English just to help you, not even for us or anything. It's just
Yeah.
unfortunately in America we don't really put an emphasis on learning other languages. It's just like we're America, we don't need to do that, and I don't
Uh,
agree with that. But that's neither here nor there.
a joke that I've heard is what do you call somebody that speaks three languages? Trilingual. What do you call somebody that speaks two? Bilingual. What do you call somebody that speaks one? American.
Yeah.
So, um, no, overall, just I felt that the staff as a general rule was a little subdued and just not quite as energetic. There were some teenagers up in the buffet one evening that were raising a ruckus, making a mess, breaking sugar, smearing all over the table and the floor. A passenger couple got onto them and then got into it with them, and then the crew ended up intervening. And I did walk by, and one of the wait staff, I guess, in the buffet, or maybe it was security, I really don't know, was reprimanding the teenagers for their behavior. Um, I personally think that if they caught my teenager running around making a mess, that they should take my teenager to the brig and make me come and get them, and then charge me $200 to get them out. But that's just my personal opinion. So, um, but they handled that very well, as the crew did. But overall, I've had better service as a general. Our room porter, he was fantastic. MSC still does morning and evening room makeups. Other celebrity did. Um, So I know some of them are going away to going to just one time a day, but MSC still doing twice a day, so that was nice. Our room porter was great, but he did seem um, very shy. I don't know, maybe he's not been doing it very long or something. He always spoke to us, but he was not what I call overly chatty. He was just, very polite. Maybe he didn't
Okay.
speak, to the point. Maybe didn't speak great English. I don't know. Um, but no real concerns there. Just not what I've been accustomed to from other ships.
So let's I know we're kind of wrapping up. The cruise kind of came to an end. How was the disembarkation process? Was it pretty smooth? Anything that's kind of worth mentioning, or pretty much just standard as usual?
We carried our luggage off, and we left a little early. Brittany overslept, and let me back up for a second. This is part of the reason why they overslept. Coming back in, starting around 2 a.m., we stayed up pretty late,
Oh, this was awful.
and we were not drinking, so this had nothing to do with it. But there must have been some awful waves off of the eastern coast of Florida, somewhere between Fort Lauderdale and Port Canaveral, because we were going up and down waves so much that I
Oh
was
man.
I was rolling back and forth in my bed. It was pretty intense. Now, I did not have any issues with seasickness. Um, my wife, I think, got a little bit, and poor Garrett can tell you about his in the evening.
Yeah, it was miserable. That was awful. It was started about like 12:30, and on the way back to the room, we were, I don't know how big of swells we were hitting. To me, it seemed like we were hitting 100-foot swells. I know we weren't, but it just felt that way. And you
Did you
know,
take anything? Like, did you take any
yeah, I
bonine
took
or?
Bonine. There's some magical pill from another land that Brittany gave me. I don't know what it was,
Shrooms.
but
Garrett did shrooms.
it was something. But it was supposed to help nothing. I mean, it was. I couldn't get any relief at all. I would go outside on the little patio. I thank God we had an ocean view room on this one because I don't. I would have had to go up to the top of the deck or top of the boat and just sit there. But I would go out on the patio there and sit and get a little bit of relief, and then I'd try to go in and lay back down, try to fall asleep. But it was that nausea where you can't get comfortable, nothing's helping, and the only relief you're going to have is if you can get to land. And that was just, and we were 6 hours away from land, and I was like, I don't know how I'm going to survive through the night. Nothing was helping, and I finally, by the grace of God, after me begging for like probably an hour and a half, I was like, just end it now. I was like, just take me now. I was just like, I'll fall off this boat and drown. I don't care. But anyway, I was able to fall asleep probably around like 2:33 in the morning, and slept. But then of course, we had to be back up at, I think it was like 7 or
Six.
whatever,
It was
6. Yeah.
six.
So it was like, I definitely hard slept through my alarm. Brittany slept through her alarm because she was up with me. You see, I don't get sick on boats.
Brittany would have slept through her alarm regardless if she was up with you.
Well, I don't get sick through. I've been on 3 cruise ships. This is the first time I've been sick, and I really only adhere that to just the weather conditions. So, I think if you're, and I will say, like, I'm the kind of guy that if I go to like virtual reality stuff, I get motion sickness really easily. So for me, being on a cruise ship, and even going on this one, I was like, oh no, everything's great. I'll be fine. It wasn't anything about the cruise in normal conditions that was wrong. It was just the adverse weather that we had that made me have all that, nausea and everything. But
That's
yeah,
why we do balcony rooms only. The second one is on the Rhapsody. We were in Ocean View, and coming back into Tampa from Cozumel, actually, we hit waves like that, sloshing so much they had to drain the pools because it was sloshing back and forth and sloshing out of them. And my wife got sick when we went back into the room after dark, and she had no balcony to go out on to get fresh air. And that is why I don't do anything except for balconies now when we go on a cruise. So just so we have an opportunity to go out and get fresh air if something like that would have happened. But anyway, so sorry, I sidebarred us there. So the next morning we get up. They get up a little bit later because, of course, they overslept. So we actually got off separately. Um, but it was pretty seamless. Of course, they got a little maze set up for you, and it's just a matter of walking from point A to point B if you're taking your own luggage off.
It feels longer to me at Port Canaveral because you got to go all the way down those, like, it just takes a minute. Like, I don't know, Miami and some of the other ports feels like way faster, but I don't know, Port Canaveral, you feel like you walked like further. I don't know. That was just me.
It did feel like we walked for a bit, but we got off, and I think I left the luggage there with them, and I went and got no, we just walked to the truck. That's what it was. we walked to the truck, and Rachel and I waited on Brittany and Garrett, and then they finally came, and about 20 minutes later, probably not even that long, 20 minutes later, and off we went back to the Chattanooga area.
So let's kind of just talk overall your final overall thoughts. How would you compare this MSC cruise, especially Garrett, it being your first MSC cruise, compared to some of the other cruises you've done in the past? Are you looking to continue to sail MSC in the future? Or I know Jason, there's a couple other lines you still want to check out. What does cruising look like for y'all in the future as well?
Yeah, well, I think so. For me, I definitely overall I liked the boat. It was great. It was fun experience. It had a lot to offer. There's a lot to do. This was like kind of the first cruise where I tried to take advantage of all the activities that they had to offer during the sea days, and so and there was a lot to do on this boat. So I did, I took advantage of it. So did Brittany, and I had a great time. I think they had a lot to do on the sea days, and then the pool areas were great. I feel like the layout of the boat was fantastic. There wasn't anywhere where I thought this is a wasted space, or I wish they would have done this, or I wish they would have done that. Having kind of like an adults only area, which most ships do have that, but having that at the aft of the boat was super fun. And yeah, I mean, I definitely would recommend an MSC cruise to other people. I had a good time. I thought of course, the internet was great if you paid for it. And yeah, we had a good time. As far as comparing it to other cruise ships I've been on, of course, we've been with Royal Caribbean, then of course Norwegian. I will say as far as like
Celebrity.
or
Celebrity on
Celebrity.
Norwegian.
I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry, Celebrity. Celebrity. They use the app like the same Royal Caribbean because they're owned by Royal Caribbean. And I will say I feel like they do have the best app overall to navigate, to do things that you want to do, give you all the information. But MSC, I think they're a pretty solid company, and I'll cruise with them again.
Yeah, same. I don't have any reason why I wouldn't go on MSC. The only thing that would hold me back is the itinerary. They do basically three itineraries in the Caribbean. The one we did, the one that goes east and goes St. Thomas, etc., and then they do one that kind of circles Cuba. That one I'm interested because I'd like to hit Jamaica and Grand Cayman again. Um, but Yeah, I have no reasons why I wouldn't. I mean, I think it's a great cruise line. I think they're making good inroads. They do have some improvement to make, but I don't know any of them that don't. So yeah, we've kind of hit. The only other thing that was on my list, guys, that I was going to mention was their bathrooms, especially the showers, seem very small compared to any other cruise line. I mean, I felt like I'm not. I mean, I'm 6'1", I'm 215 pounds. I'm not like we're extra large shirts, okay? So I'm not some huge guy, and I was touching both sides of the shower. I was in there, um, so I just feel like I don't know why that is, but my real complaint: the bathrooms are too small.
Well, no, going off of that with the shower too, because I mean, I think it's nice the Seashore has the glass door showers,
Yes,
but I know
agreed.
the newer Carnival ships I've done have the glass door showers too, and I feel like the Carnival ones were a little bigger than the MSC ones. So you're not the only one that thinks that.
Yeah, and I don't. The jury's out of my mind if I like the shower glass doors better than I do the curtain on the Celebrity ship. Now, granted, the what were we on the Celebrity Infinity? Because it was built in 2001-ish time frame, I think. So I had a curtain, but the shower was also, it was at the end of the bathroom, so it was as deep as the entire bathroom was, so it gave you more room in there. Plus, with the curtain, it was bigger and it felt bigger too. I don't know which way I prefer. I don't know. Just that's the only other thing that I had on my notes that we really didn't parse out as we were going through everything. Overall, I definitely give it an A. I think it's a great cruise line. I think it was a great cruise ship, and we had a good time.
Hey, well, thank you guys again so much. I hope that we get to have you back on the podcast again. And yeah, we got to get you on a couple other lines, so we'll definitely talk about that in the near future. But I know Garrett has to get back to his pizza that he had to grab, so we'll let him go enjoy his dinner. But Jason, Garrett, thank you so much again for coming on, and we look forward to having you on the podcast again soon.
Thanks, guys. Y'all have a good one.
Yeah, yeah, appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Take care.
So that's going to wrap up part 2 of the MSC Seashore review with Jason and Garrett. Again, thank you guys so much for coming on. We hope that you enjoyed listening to this episode as well, just as much as we did. We know that they're awesome. They're fun. They also have a great sense of humor, and they have a ton of detail that they packed into these episodes. If you are interested in becoming a client, just like Jason and Garrett did a few years back, you can reach out to us at 704-313-8556. We'd love to help you get a free quote on your next cruise, whether that's MSC or any other line. We'll make sure we add as much onboard credit as possible and get you the best price out there. So with that, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you back here next Wednesday.